Chapter 12. What is your life's program? That's impossible. My brother and I have different tasks, Light-haired said. Everybody has his own program, and nonetheless, only in man can we, by each carrying out our personal program, also work on the overall plan and become particles of the new energy that is found only in man. But how in the world can you each work on something different, something opposite, and at the same time contribute to the overall good? Anasta inquired incredulously. We can, by continually outpacing each other by just a little bit. When you start walking, Anastushka, one of your little legs shoots out ahead, leaving the other behind. Then the one that has lagged behind suddenly shoots out ahead. It's like the legs are competing against each other, and in the end, together, by complying with the body's thoughts, they move it forward. Dark-haired entered the conversation. Now, that's some example you gave. You even cracked me up, he said, interrupting his brother. If you're going to imagine us as two little legs, then you are the really short one, and I'm super long. I take a step, and the body goes right up over the mountains, but you just loaf around, pretending to move. I'm leading mankind to a planetary disaster for the 5th time now, as part of carrying out my own program. And if the Creator's thought regenerates it all over again, it doesn't matter. Bam! I'll hit it all over again with a planetary disaster so that it won't get out of line. Yes, you are talented, my dear brother. You really have led the life of the whole planet to the brink of a global disaster. But your disasters don't bring you any discoveries, any new knowledge, and they do not add to your powers. But they do always give man new knowledge, and mankind regenerates all over again. But before they do, they perish in hellish agony along with their knowledge. You and I, brother, we do not know the Creator's program. Perhaps one day it will happen that mankind will prevent a disaster an instant before it happens. And at that point, an aspiration unknown to you and me will illuminate its thought. I'm sick of your light little dreamykinses, my light little snotty-nosed brother. You listen to me, little girl, not him, the dark-haired youth said, addressing Anasta. I, little girl, will show you all my power in a form that you can understand. My light little one there got a thing or two right. Human thought truly is a huge energy, equal to mine in size and way bigger than his. Each person, if he makes use of this energy properly, really is capable of making the world different. But there is another unseen energy thought too, collective thought. That is when a great many of separate people's thoughts come together in a unified whole. If all mankind's thoughts came together in a unified whole, and you got a mankind-wide thought, my brother and I would be like ants compared to it. But I have learned how to prevent collective thought from arising. I'm the one who tosses various philosophical lines of reasoning and concepts out to mankind. And what you end up with is 1 billion people collectively thinking one way, and another billion thinking a different way, and that way they repudiate the first group. I, little girl, am the incarnation of all the dark powers of the universe. And if you join forces with me, we will become a force second to none. I have a secret plan. You'll get what it's all about, and you'll help me. Together we will turn all people into our playthings. We'll play with their minds. I'll make you mankind's mistress, and one day you will tell me. I don't like that plan, Anasta replied, and added, I will never take part in it, and I don't think any other people would agree either. You won't take part? You, little girl, just don't know yet what an amusing game it is, making people think what you want them to think. And don't be so quick to say that people won't follow my program. The wheel has already been invented. It's primitive so far, but then people will put 2 wooden wheels together with a pole, and that's in line with my plan, my ingenious program. What's so bad about a wheel? When we had to haul food to the injured mammoth Don, a little wheeled cart helped us do that. It's all good, little girl. Just great, even. This wheel will be perfected. A great many wheels will be made, and people will see that it's difficult to roll a wheel over the natural terrain, across hillocks and potholes and through tall grass. And then they'll cover a huge portion of the earth over with a stone shell so that the wheels will be able to roll along it unobstructed. And growing more and more numerous, they will roll along over the groaning earth, carrying some people atop them and ruthlessly crushing others beneath them. You, little girl, try to find an answer yourself. What can be more powerful than the power which can send people to their ruin? But you won't be able to find the answer within you. So go ahead and acknowledge my greatness. Anasta pondered the question, but she could not find an answer within her. She looked once more at the light-haired youth. In response to the little girl's silent question, the light-haired replied, Anastoshka, my brother has painted a sad picture for you. That is his task, and he is carrying it out in good conscience. I can see the question in your eyes. Do I have a program too? I do, and I also want to appeal to you to take part in my program. So what does your program want? To try to comprehend the Creator's great creation, man, to understand the greatness of his future achievements. But hasn't everything on Earth already been created? Anasta asked, astonished. The fact of the matter is, Anastoshka, you see before you a beautiful blooming flower. Each plant or animal is perfected in and of itself, but at the same time, they are all interconnected too. It seems that the Creator has created a miraculous, harmonious, and perfected earthly world. But that doesn't mean that this world can't be perfected even more. We can view the Creator's creations as simply the rough material for a more perfected creation, for creating a beautiful and perfected way of life never before seen or imagined by anybody. But who can be more perfect than perfection itself? Anasta asked in amazement. Those who issue forth from it, the great parents, son and daughter. For example, you, Anastoshka. Me? But I can't imagine how you could possibly alter what has already been created. I, for example, have no desire whatsoever to alter the little flower that bloomed in my flower bed, even the tiniest bit. I think that we shouldn't alter it, not under any circumstances, so that we don't spoil its perfection. And why alter Kitten? Or how could you say, perfect Don the Mammoth? By altering his trunk or his ears? Altering it how and what for? But see here, Anastoshka, you already altered Don the Mammoth. No, I never altered him, she objected in amazement. It is true, you did not alter him on the outside, but your mammoth Don carries out far more human instructions than all the other mammoths who have ever lived on the earth. And Don's understanding of what he is instructed to do is qualitatively different. You will see that immediately if you compare him with your other mammoths, ones that look similar. Yes, now I get it. I think he's smarter than all the other ones. It's just that before, I somehow didn't give it any thought. There you see, not only the external form and build are significant, what's inside and the life's purpose are more important. And you are the very one who created and determined what is inside of Don, and a life's purpose for him. And Don the mammoth, who on the outside does not look at all different from the other mammoths created by the great creator, is different nonetheless. Now he is a joint creation, the creator's and yours. And we don't know who he belongs to more. We don't know who he belongs more to. After all, it isn't only that Don the mammoth can carry out a larger number of commands that are essential in everyday human life. He's grown more intelligent, loyal, and responsive. Do you recall how one day you fell asleep on the dry grass beneath a tall, tall tree, and when you woke up, you saw Don the mammoth standing above you, not moving a muscle? You got angry. There was some really unpleasant smell coming from him, as if he'd gotten smeared with some foul thing and had come on purpose to disturb your sleep with this unpleasant smell. You got up and set off walking toward your home across the wet grass, but before you did, you said to Don the mammoth in a dissatisfied tone, "Don, you are forever straggling off from the herd. Now you've started coming here on your own accord even when no one has called you. Go on off to your pasture and to your brothers." You went away, walking barefoot through the wet grass, without looking back even once. Anastoshka, do you remember that the grass was wet? Yes. Do you know why Don the mammoth smelled so unpleasant? No. When you fell asleep, a thunderstorm began. Not only people, but animals too, know that lightning most often strikes tall trees. Don saw you fell asleep, and when the thunderstorm began, he got all agitated and came over to you, leaving his herd. He didn't wake you up. He just stood over you, shielding you from the rain. Some lightning hit the tree that you were sleeping under. One branch caught fire and began to fall. It would have fallen on you, but Don the mammoth managed to cast it aside with his trunk. Then a second branch caught fire, and Don cast that one off too, but not before the fire had scorched the fur on the mammoth's head, and it began to smolder, giving off an unpleasant smell. The scorched spot was unbearably painful, but Don stood above you without moving a muscle while you slept. And when you left after rebuking him for being a pest, he couldn't even bring himself to take offense. He forgot about the pain. He was overjoyed that you had not been harmed, and later, when tending to his burn, he thought of you with tenderness. Anasta jumped to her feet and ran to the mammoth, who was standing a short distance away. He nodded joyfully. Anasta took hold of the tip of his trunk, patted it with her hand, pressed her cheek to it, and then kissed it. The mammoth froze. He kept standing that way, motionlessly, his eyes scrunched up, even after the little girl had walked away from him and gone back to the light-haired youth. I get it, Anasta said to the light-haired. Don the mammoth has been remodeled. Maybe it happened all on its own, or maybe I helped him in some way. He does differ from the mammoths who were just created by the Creator. Does that mean that man has been given the right? The right to remodel? Yes, he has been given that, Light-haired answered. So now think about this. In accordance with which program? In accordance with the good one. So go ahead and define it. Choose. Create. Do you mean that the one who created everything on Earth didn't create any one program that man has to live by? I think he presented man with a great many options to choose from, but that he himself dreamt of only one thing. What? Only man can find an answer to that. But where should we look for it? Inside you. By mentally imagining, analyzing, and comparing various options for arranging life on the earth. Do you mean people live on the earth, but Know nothing of the Creator's program? People have been given great knowledge about using biological resources for development, but people possess various types of freedom, including the freedom to replace biological resources with technocratic ones. It is up to them to decide whether to use their inner resources deep down inside them, those, say, of a living tree that grows and senses biological rhythms and, by adjusting to them, regulates its own state depending on the surrounding conditions, or the exterior superficial resources of a dead tree. When people step onto the technocratic path of development, they use superficial resources. They fashion this or implement that out of wood and use it for fuel or for building material. For some reason, people always choose the technocratic path, but it inevitably leads them to disaster. This has happened more than once. After all planetary disasters are created by people's thoughts, thoughts that are followed by actions. But the glacier that forced my family line to leave its home, no people created that. Your family line, Anastoshka, has already set foot on the technocratic path. In accordance with the program of life, the glacier will overtake it and bring it to ruin. But life will rise anew. A new hope for human intelligence will appear. If somebody stops the glacier, and only a person can do that, your family line will live in a technocratic world. And sooner or later, the technocratic path will all the same lead it to a disaster. True, if a person finds a way to stop the glacier, meaning a way to avert one disaster, then, in all likelihood, he'll be able to avert the next one after it too. A short while before the next one, he'll be able to illuminate people's souls with an understanding of where they went wrong in their choices and avert the disaster. Then mankind will be able to choose a new path and gradually and carefully dismantle his lethal inventions. But illuminating the souls of people on the technocratic world is an uphill battle. During a technocratic period of life, people cease to be intelligent beings. It is necessary to appeal not to their minds, but to their feelings, and through their feelings, to inform them about the essence of the divine program. And in order to do this, one has to sense and comprehend it for one's self. But haven't you already comprehended it? Not entirely. Really, I think it's impossible to completely grasp it in the way that one can completely comprehend my brother's programs. It's impossible to completely comprehend it. Completion is cessation of motion. In addition, I see no limit to how much you can perfect, say, your mammoth. What about other wild animals? Others too. You know full well, Anastoshka, that all animals' offsprings adopt their parents' habits and skills. That means that each new generation will be a bit more perfected than the previous one. And if man correctly determines all wild animals' life purposes, if each subsequent generation continues perfecting the animal world around it, a world that will free man from all everyday concerns, then, in the very same way, human thought will be freed up for more important achievements. That is probably what can happen if you're speaking about wild animals. But now, I wouldn't ever take it into my head to try to perfect the little flower. It is very, very perfect. I think so too, Anastoshka. Even so, your beautiful little flower is but the paint that the Creator has presented to his daughter for her future creations. Paint? The flower is a living thing. Why paint? Yes, certainly. It is a living organism. and it is self-contained, and at the same time it can be no more than a tiny particle of the living picture that is great in its beauty. Take a look at your flower bed. What looks most beautiful in it is your favorite flower. But if you plant 2 or 3 more of the very same flower in it, the way the flower bed looks will change. Then you can plant other pretty flowers, ones that don't look like these, and the way the flower bed looks will change once again. Then you can perfect the living picture by arranging the various flowers in a different order. There is no limit to the perfection. It is in accordance with the Creator's program to move toward it. Does that mean that man was created in order to make everything around him lovelier and lovelier? In order to perfect the world the Creator gave him? Is that man's main life purpose? To create glorious living pictures, to comprehend and perfect the animal world. Of course, that is an important life's purpose for man. But I see the main one, as something different. As what? As man perfects the divine world order, he himself will necessarily become more and more perfected. And there is no limit to be seen to this phenomenon. Great resources will open up before him. But why will he be more perfected? I mean, no one's going to be instructing man while all of this is going on. You, Anastoshka, created a lovely flower bed, and your experience helped you understand how to do that. You will try to make your creation next year even better, and you will do so using your previous experience and feelings. That means that by creating the first time, you gained experience, knowledge, and sensations that enable you to create something more perfected. And that means that your creation itself is instructing you. Creation in divine living nature perfects the Creator. And there is no end in sight to the heights such great creation can reach. There is eternity. Note from Carla. This is not in the book. It's just a thought that landed in my head just now. I am literally changing the cosmos with my own consciousness. I am changing the way the God that lives inside of all of us experiences itself. The cosmos has been forever altered simply because I am here and having this experience. Okay, back to the book. I really want, there is no end in sight to the heights such great creation can reach. There is eternity. I really want to live in a marvelous world like that, where everything can be perfected eternally, where the Creator will perfect his creations, and the creations will perfect their Creator. I want my papa and mama, my brothers and grandfather Vud, and our entire family line to live in that world. Anasta smiled, and her eyes shone. I must stop the glacier. How do I do it? How? Human thought is the most powerful energy of the universe. There is no limit to its potential. It is unimportant to learn how to use... It is important how... Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm trying to say it properly. Please bear with me. It is important to learn to use it properly. But how to do this, using what means, that is unknown. Only man has the power to make this great discovery. Most likely my thought is still small and not powerful, Anasta said, sadly, sighing. I want the glacier to stop, but it's coming closer and closer, and it's growing colder and colder every day. That means my thought is small. If Don the mammoth knew how to think about the glacier, well, he has a big head. And that means the thought in it might be big and powerful. Anasta ran up to the mammoth and, slapping her palm against the trunk he extended to her in greeting, she said excitedly, "You're so big, Don, and you have a big head. That means it might contain a big thought. Think your thought, Don. Stop the glacier, because otherwise all you do is listen and listen. At the very least, take a walk over to the pasture, Don. There's less and less food for you here, all the time." Don the mammoth stroked the little girl's cheek and hair with the tip of his trunk, slowly turned around, and began walking off. The cat nicknamed Kitten took a running start, sprang onto the mammoth's leg, and, latching onto his fur, scrambled up onto his back. "Anastoshka, it is time for you and your charges to flee this place," the light-haired youth said, addressing the little girl. "There is already ice on the other side of that mountain there. That isn't even the main glacier yet, but even it can move the mountain that covers the valley and carry away the gardens and homes where your family line lived. And it's causing the temperature to fall with every day. The main glacier will press against this ice and the mountain will slowly begin moving. This will happen a few days from now. I will not flee this place. I have to see it, this ice, and understand why it's advancing onto our land. I have to think up a way to stop the glacier. Tomorrow morning I will go up on that mountain, and I will see it." Bowing to the little girl and taking his leave of her, the light-haired youth said, "I wish you sharp and auspicious thoughts, Anastoshka." And he addressed his brother, saying, "Let us go, brother, and remove ourselves from the little girl's sight. Let us not bother her. Perhaps she will be able to understand and will learn how to control her thought." "Come on then, let's go. Of the two of us, you're the main hindrance. You got all carried away here, philosophizing and going on and on." "Oh, wait, please wait," Anasta said, starting. "Each of you told about his program. That means I must also have a program. But I've never even thought about it. Could it be that I don't have one in me?" "We are getting out of your sight, little girl. You get busy thinking. Don't slack off. You've hardly got any time left at all. Only 2 sunrises. Sorry, that was the dark-haired speaking, otherwise I would have used a different tone. "Only 2 sunrises, the dark-haired said, without answering the question. And the youths left.